Hey everybody, so one thing I'd like to do is start breaking down some grooves. Right now we're going to take a look at the groove from the intro video. So this is going to be in the key of D. I'm finding myself here on the 5th fret of my A string, grabbing that D here. And the first thing I like to do whenever I start with the groove is really orient myself in the key. So I'll find my root note, I'll play the octave of it, I'll play the octave of it here, so this is my root note, and I'm going up to the 12th fret here, just because I like to kind of create destination points. So when I'm playing something, I can play the groove in the first register and then leap to either a higher or lower register to add some funk to it. There are certain things that characterize a lot of funk music, and one of those things is kind of jumping up to a high register and playing just a very simple phrase. And it sounds super awesome and we love it, and it's really just, hey, I'm jumping up to this region of the bass. So here's kind of how I do that. I'm going to start here, and I'm kind of just starting the groove framework by playing the root and this octave. And then I'm using the 6th and the flat 7th. So this is going to have a very like dominant chord mixolydian feel. It's very similar to grooves that you've heard in songs such as like Motown tunes and classic funk tunes, anything Sly and the Family Stone. This is kind of the quintessential funk kind of thing, using the 6th, flat 7th, you know, for the love of money. You know, they're using this note, this flat 7th. So for this particular groove, I'm doing that, where I'm playing the root, the octave, the 6th, and then jumping up to this flat 7 here. And then what I'm doing there is I'm sliding from the minor third, the F, up to the major third. This is also a very funky thing to do, kind of originated in blues music. One of the great things about learning the blues and playing the blues is we have this acquired taste in American music in general for enjoying this sound of the minor third and the major third. It's just something that is very, very American. You know, that's something that started with the blues, made its way through funk music and everything like that, and now it's just part of what we enjoy as listeners to music. So I'm playing that, and then I'm doing that slide where I'm going from the minor third, the F, up to the F sharp, and then coming back here. So here's that part. And you can just stay here and play it. You'll also see that I'm doing a lot of stuff with my right hand, where I'm playing very syncopated notes, adding a couple dead notes thrown in there. So the ba-da-ba-da, giving it that rhythm is also a very like kind of fun, funky thing to do. If you did it without that, it would sound like this, which is fine, but I kind of prefer it like this. You know, another thing you can also do to add a little spice to your bass line is slide into that root note from the flat 7. So now once you're comfortable with that framework, what you can do is start adding embellishments. There are a couple things that I like to do for embellishments. One is I like to reorient my hand and kind of give it a bluesy but major pentatonic-y thing. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of sliding up to the 6th scale degree here instead of playing it here. You know, you can also grab it here. And what that does is when I orient myself here, I have these fingers that are already in the right place to play a cool bluesy riff. So I'm kind of playing the 6th, the root note. Here's my flat 3rd, my 2nd, my root. And you can get creative with that. Like, I'll kind of just go and play whatever sounds good there. And then the next thing I do is I like to figure out, okay, how can I jump down and get some of the lower notes to integrate into my bass line. Another classic Motown-y kind of thing is to jump down from the root to the major third below and go up chromatically, or root and then go to the 6th, the flat 7th, major 7th, and 1, go up chromatically. So here are 2 ways you can integrate something like that in your bass line. First, I'm going to play for you the way you go into this major third and go up, and then I'll do the next one. So again, what I did was I played the groove framework, and then I jumped down, played the major third down here, went up chromatically. And then sometimes to get back, I'll touch the 6th, and then jump back to the root. The next way is by going chromatically from the 6th. So here's an example of that. So what I'm doing there is I'm just going to the 6th, and I'm playing the octave, very disco kind of thing to do. And again, I'm using a lot of dead notes, so my right hand is really remaining active and providing some of that like percussive vibe that's going on. So you'll also see that one of the things I do is I'll use my left hand to kind of choke the notes. So that's going to give it that more like muty, dubby kind of sound. So those are 2 ways you can use chromatic motion in this kind of bass line. And then lastly, I'm just going to talk about jumping up to this higher register. So one great thing to do is to kind of reorient yourself up here and be like, alright, here I can kind of grab some funky notes. You can get the major third, right? 1, 2, 3, in the key of D. And you can do things where you can play a line where you're playing the root and you're doing again that minor third, major third slide, right? Or you can create a chord to accent the dominant 7 nature of this whole groove, where you play the 3rd and then you play this flat 7th here. When you listen to this by itself, it sounds somewhat dissonant and you're like, oh, I'm not sure if that's what I want to play. But in the context of the groove, it sounds great because you are outlining the 3rd and the 7th of that dominant chord, and it's just like the quintessential scrunchy nose, stank face kind of thing that you can do. So here's an example of where you can place that. So, and you'll notice that I did a little slide, and that kind of adds for a little extra element of funk. Or you can play it clean like this. So those are just a couple of things that I use in creating bass lines, especially if I'm kind of sticking in one chord or just playing over something that's like a D7. This is a really fun approach that you can take. Alright, thanks for checking it out. See you in the next lesson.